الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We'll continue inshallah ta'ala with the book of al-Murbi, and we stopped at page 124 when the bottom of the page where he says وصفة الوضوء وصفة الوضوء. So reading from the matn of الزاد وصفة الوضوء أن ينوي ثم يسمي ويغسل كفيه ثلاثا ثم يتمضمض ويستنشق ويغسل وجهه, and then it continues. So this is the صفة, how to make wudu. This is the ways also of the ulama in the books of al-fiqh, where after mentioning the pillars of al-wudu and the conditions and things like that, then describes how to make wudu from the beginning to the end, with what's recommended, with the obligations all together in the sequence of how to make wudu. And as always, the ulama mention once they talk about this part of the chapter, is that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they would explain how to make wudu based on how they observed from the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. They would not start by saying this is the fard, this is the recommended, like this, so that they would leave the recommended and do the fard. Of course not. They would do the wudu as perfect as they can. And the benefit of knowing the classifications of what's fard and what's mustahab and what's masnoon and makruh and so on, for the purpose of the knowledge, if a person missed something, does he have to repeat the wudu? Or the wudu is valid? Like this. Not that a person would choose to only do the obligations and to not to do the recommended acts. Should not be the attitude, of course, of someone that is seeking the rewards from Allah, and to follow the way of the Prophet ﷺ. So this is such an important part, of course, that we get to know the sifa, or how to do the wudu, with knowing, of course, what's fard versus what's not, and some of the details, inshallah. So he says, وَصِفَةُ الْوُضُوء. This is in the matn of al-Zad. وَصِفَةُ الْوُضُوء. In al-Sharh he says al-Kamil, the perfect, the complete wudu. وَصِفَةُ الْوُضُوءِ الْكَامِلِ أي كيفيته, meaning how to make the wudu. This is what is meant by صِفَةُ الْوُضُوء, is the kayfiyya, is how to make the wudu. كيفيته from كيف. كيف means how. So كيفيته, it's how. وصفة الوضوء الكامل أي كيفيته أن ينوي ثم يسمي وتقدم. أن ينوي, that he would have the intention, and he would say Bismillah, يسمي. وتقدم, that means we already talked about it. So go back and learn or review what's mentioned about the niyyah and about the tasmiyah. So yanwi here is a deed done by the heart, of course, and there's no utterness of anything, and just making wudu. So with the details of what's mentioned in the niyyah, ثم يسمي, and making tasmiyah, saying Bismillah, which is wajib according to what's in the madhab, to say Bismillah. أن ينوي ثم يسمي, then to say Bismillah. وتقدم means it has been explained before. ويغسل كفيه ثلاثا. Inshallah, after we finish the Kitab al-Tahara, we'll review, inshallah, so that we make sure that everything is okay. And also when it comes to how to perfect the learning the fiqh, inshallah ta'ala, as the ulama, they say, this is the book. According to, if you want to, we're talking about madhab Hanabila, this is the book. Al-Rawd, explaining Zad. If you finish the book, what to go next? The same book. You go back again and study it again, study it again. And of course, you go to the next level. Yes, there are levels afterwards. But this is the foundation. This is what you need to always go back to. And you add to it from what you learn from the other books, even within the madhab, or when it comes to later on with the differences of opinions and the evidences and so on. So this has to be perfected, so that things are built on it. Instead of after this is finished, then you put it aside and then you do something else. No. So that's why it's very important that we make sure that we don't miss a word of it, inshallah ta'ala. So he says, وَيَغْسِلَ كَفَّيْهِ ثَلَاثًا, and he washes his both kaf. Al-kaf is the palm. كَفَّيْهِ, this is in the muthanna, the dual tense. وَيَغْسِلَ كَفَّيْهِ ثَلَاثًا. 3 times. تنظيفا لهما. And as we all know that the ulama are very precise, very accurate in their statements. They mean every word, not just words to make it sound eloquent. So تنظيفا, why did he say تنظيفا? تنظيفا is for the cleansing of it, to clean it. Right? Why? Because the washing the hands 3 times in the beginning is not something that is part of the wudu if it's after waking up from sleep. Remember, after waking up from sleep at night, to wash the hands 3 times if a person would make wudu from a container. So these 3 times washing, it's not part of the wudu. And then if a person washed 3 times because he's making wudu from a container, so he washes his hands 3 times outside of the container before he dips his hand, immerses his hand in the container. Then after he make this 3 times, then to wash 3 times as part of the wudu, which is one of the mustahabbat of the wudu, one of the recommended acts of wudu. So does he make it 2 times or 1 is sufficient? So this is a mas'ala, this is an issue. Of course, from the tap water, this is not part of what's mentioned. It's just you wash your hands 3 times. So ويغسل كفيه ثلاثا تنظيفا لهما, cleaning them, فيكرر غسلهما عند الاستيقاظ من النوم وفي أوله. فيكرر, so he repeats. So he repeats غسلهما, washing both of the hands, عند الاستيقاظ من النوم, when waking up from sleep, وفي أوله, and in the beginning of the wudu. So this is what's mentioned here. And according also another riwayah from Ahmad, once is sufficient. 1 time is sufficient. But here, as it's mentioned here, because this is the mas'ala. So you wash it 3 times, if it's from the bucket. Not that if you're opening on the sink, you're making wudu after you wake up from sleep, you wash 3 times, and then another 3 times, no. You only wash 3 times, and that's the wudu right away. The first 3 times, as mentioned before, if the water is in a container. Before you put your hand in the container, you wash it 3 times outside of the container because of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So this is what is meant here. So again, ويغسل كفيه ثلاثا تنظيفا لهما فيكرر غسلهما عند الاستيقاظ من النوم وفي أوله. And as we also, some of the words that we will choose inshallah to remember, so that we hopefully we won't repeat them again. Meaning translation. ثم يتمضمض ويستنشق. At least the matn, of course. The matn of الزاد is very important that we know every word of it. ثم يتمضمض ويستنشق. Then he make مضمضة and استنشاق, and we talked about المضمضة والاستنشاق. المضمضة is the water in the mouth and it's moved around the mouth and then to be spat out. While استنشاق is to take the water inside of the nose to the upper part of the nose. يستنشق. ثلاثا, in the sharh he says ثلاثا, 3 times, ثلاثا. Why he said ثلاثا twice? Because ثلاثا for يتمضمض and ثلاثا for يستنشق. 3 times مضمضة, the mouth, and 3 times the nose. بيمينه, with his right hand. ومن غرفة أفضل, and from 1 handful, أفضل, better. So the first ruling is 3 times, 3 times. That means madmada, 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 3 times. And then al-istinshaq, al-istinshaq, al-istinshaq. Right? But what's better than that is from 1 handful, both. And this is from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And actually there's no clear evidence, as many of the muhaqqiqeen from the ulama, they mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ did it mouth first and then the nose first. He would do it with 1 handful ﷺ. He would make the madmada, and then with what's still in his hand, he would make the istinshaq, all of that with the right hand. Some in the mouth and some in the nose. And then al-istinthar is وَيَسْتَنْثِرَ بِيَسَارِهِ, and he make istinthar with his left hand. And the istinthar, as mentioned before, is to blow the water out with the left. This is what's perfect, and that's why he says وَمِنْ غَرْفَةٍ أَفْضَلٍ. This is what is best. And غرفة means 3 غرفات, right? Because some had mentioned that it can be done one gharfa 3 times, which is a very difficult one. But 3 gharfat is what is best. If someone, imagine someone, his hand is big, mashallah, so he would make madmada istinshaq without getting new water, and madmada istinshaq. So min gharfa. But what's from the hadith and the sunnah is that it's one gharfa for one time. So 3 times. Every time is one gharfa from the same hand. So ثم يتمضمض ويستنشق ثلاثا بيمينه. This is one مسألة. ومن غرفة أفضل. This is another one. ومن غرفة, one handful. الغرفة again is not handful, but الغرفة is one. What's the act that you would do this to something? Whether it's with a spoon, with your hand, with anything. Scoop, okay, but not the tool that it's called scoop, right? The act of scooping, or this is the gharfa, right? ومن غرفة أفضل. From غرفة is better. ويستنثر بيساره, and all present tense from الاستنثار with his left hand. So we have يتمضمض, يستنشق, يستنثر. Present tense. What's the noun of it? مضمضة, استنشاق, استنثار. ويغسل وجهه ثلاثا, and he washes his face ثلاثا, 3 times. This is the complete wudu. Then he says وحده. الحد is the edge linguistically, but al-hadd means the limits, because the limits is the edge of things. So what is the hadd of the wajh? What constitutes the face? وحده. The word al-hadd can be used in many different contexts, of course. Al-hudud is the capital punishment. So this is because it also comes from the limits, that someone transgressed the limits. So وحده حد الوجه. What is حد الوجه? What constitutes the wajh? What is considered to be the face? Because this is wudu, and it has to be done, it has to be washed. Because you have a face and you have a head. And the head, what's the ruling for the head? Is to wipe. And the face is to wash. So you cannot wipe what needs to be washed, or vice versa. So therefore it's very important to know where the face is. So وحده, this is now the hadd of the face. من منابت شعر الرأس. Manabit comes from manbat, and nabat is the plants. So manabit, plural of manbat, where the hair grows. من منابت شعر الرأس المعتاد غالبا. And the Sharh says المعتاد, what is known غالبا, the norm. So from where the hair grows normally, normal people, where the hair grows of the head, this is where the face starts. So the not normal things, it does not count here. So some people, their hair starts from their forehead, their hair goes down, right? And some people, their hair recedes, goes back, and each one has its name in the language, by the way, right? So aflaj, ahlaj, so this does not count. What to be washed is what normally the hair grows, not what normally your hair grows. No, normally to the human beings, where the hair usually grows after the forehead. من منابت شعر الرأس المعتاد from what's used to غالبا, normally, for the most part. Now, إلى من حضر. So this is the beginning, or حد الوجه من الأعلى, from the above. إلى من حضر من اللحيين والذقن طولا. To what? إلى ما انحدر. الانحدار is when something falls. So going down, basically, to انحدر, and going down from اللحيين أو اللحيين, both are correct, which is the dual name of the lahy, and the lihya comes from it, right? Al-lahy is the jaw, which is basically what the beard is on. So what goes down from the lahyain والذقن. So anything that comes down the end of the face. So this is the lahyain, the side of the jaw, and الذقن is the shin. طولا, طول is the length, the long part of it. So whatever comes down, right? And then in the شرح it says مع ما استرسل من اللحية, including what goes down from the beard. So if a person has a beard that going down, that's part of the face, which is another مسألة. So the face is going down, what's come down in حضر من اللحيين, what come down from اللحيين to the shin. All of that is face. And also مع ما استرسل من اللحية, what comes down from the لحية. And for the لحية, for the beard, the لحية is the hair, the beard itself. اللحيين is both لحي, which is the jaw itself. Difference between اللحية واللحية. اللحية is the beard. So the لحية or come down from the beard, ظاهر اللحية, the apparent part of the outside part of the beard is to be washed. The mustahab, as we know, as we talked about, the takhleel is to go with your hand inside of the beard. This is not fard, but this is recommended. But the outside part of the lihya is part of the face, and some said not. But this is what is meant by with ma'a mastarsala min al-lihya. So if a person has a long beard, so he washes his face, and the beard is washed. So he's not only making it on his face, but also on his beard with the same gharfa. With the same gharfa, the water falls on the outside part of the beard, which is part of the wajh. مع ما استرسل من اللحية. So this is the حد الرأس, حد الوجه من أعلى إلى الأسفل, إلى من حضر من اللحيين والذقن. الذقن is the chin, طولا, going down longitudinal. This is the length. The width, ومن الأذن إلى الأذن عرضا. So we have الطول and العرض. الطول is the length and العرض is the width. So ومن الأذن إلى الأذن عرضا, width-wise, from the nose to the nose. He says here لأن ذلك تحصل به المواجهة. This is what تحصل, attained المواجهة with it. المواجهة, let's come from الوجه. What's وجه means? Facing someone. المواجهة is when you face someone. And the word المواجهة, واجهت فلانا, that means I faced this person. Someone told you, someone is backbiting. So no, I واجهته, I faced him with what I said. Still you backbited him, which is haram. Right? So المواجهة is when you face someone. So from this hadd that is mentioned is what المواجهة is attained by it. This is how the مواجهة is what you face the people with. والأذنان ليس من الوجه. The two ears are not from the face. So the ears, because the hadith, الأذنان من الرأس. The two ears are from the head. So it's to be wiped, not to be washed. So the ear itself is not from the face, it's from the head. ليس من الوجه. بل البياض الذي بين العذار والأذن منه. Now there's going to be some terminologies of some of the things on the face and hair on the face and the head, both. But rather البياض, the whiteness, الذي بين العذار والأذن منه. The whiteness that is between العذار. العذار is this bone that makes the end of the face. What do I call it? This bone. When you open your mouth, you feel that bone here, the beginning of the jaw from the top. This is al-'idhar. So it's the whiteness between al-'idhar and the ears, which is this part. This here. Right? This is from the face. Person would say, but this is not, people don't see that from me. It's part of the face. So it's the face is all the way to the ear, from the ear to the ear. So just making sure that no one miss this part, which is right after the ears, which is the soft part that is between the idhar wal udhun. So that area is part of the face. بل البياض الذي بين العذار والأذن منه. So this is what's al-'idhar, this part. ويغسل ما فيه. In the زاد وما فيه, that means he washes what's in it, أي في الوجه. To make sure that these things also are not missed because it's part of the wajh. He washes also what's in the wajh, what's in the face, من شعر خفيف. Light hair. There's light hair on the face that needs to be washed. يصف البشرة. الشرح يصف البشرة describes the skin. That means you can see through. So as mentioned about the beard, if the beard is light, you can see through, then you wash the face. Water has to reach the face if it's see-through. If it's a thick beard, only the outside part of the hair. So من شعر خفيف. Any شعر, any whether it's the beard hair or facial hair, for example, that means what is meant is the face. يصف البشرة. كعذار, this is the عذار, is this bone that we talked about. وعارض. العارض is the cheeks. This is the عارض, you know, which is where the beard grows on. وأهداب عين. عين is what? Eyes. If I'm going fast, tell me, inshallah. عين is the eyes. أهداب is the eyelid with the hair. Eyelash. The eyelash. أهداب. He's talking about the hairs on the face. So you have the عذار, you have the عارض, the cheeks, the hair that grows on the cheeks. أهداب عين, which is the eyelid, the hair on the eyelid, which is the eyelashes. You don't have to make special washing to it, but it's part of being washed. وشارب. الشارب is the mustache. وعنفقة. العنفقة is the hair right under the lips. This is the عنفقة. لأنها من الوجه, because this is all from the face. لا صدغ. When he says no, لا, that means except that what comes after لا, it's not part of the face. So now what's coming now is not from the face. It's from the head. لا صدغ. الصدغ, if you have in this, he says here at the bottom, الصدغ ما بين العين والأذن. ويسمى أيضا الشعر المتدلى عليها صدغا. الصدغ is what's between the eyes and the ears. So this part is the الصدغ. And it's, you know, al-'idhar, this is the bone. Right on top of the عذار, this is صدغ. And this is صدغ. And all of this area over the, and you see how the difference between the hair here and the hair there. This is where the lihya starts. The lihya starts from al-'idhar. Above the عذار, the hair is different. This is the hair of the head. So this is a صدغ. This is the صدغ. So the صدغ, this صدغ is not part of the face. This is face. This is forehead. But this on top of the عذار, that's not face. That's head. Clear? وتحذيف. لا صدغ وتحذيف. What is the تحذيف? From حذف. You know, حذف is when you remove something. There's a reason why they call it تحذيف. He says وهو الشعر بعد انتهاء العذار والنزعة. It's the hair after the عذار is finished. On top of the عذار, there is the صدغ, and there's hair here. But it's the hair all the way after finishing the عذار والنزعة. النزعة is when your hair start receding, when it start going inside for men. Right? So you have your hair goes like this, and it goes like this. The M shape or whatever, you know. So this part called نزعة. Once it start going down inside, so this area is the نزعة. So التحذيف is this hair in between. This is the نزعة that goes inside, and what's before it, it's the تحذيف. So this is تحذيف, this is صدغ, this is عذار. Is it clear? They call it تحذيف because if a woman has hair here, she would recede it, she would remove it or something. So this is تحذيف. وهو الشعر بعد انتهاء العذار والنزعة. So we have, we'll talk about at the end the different ones here. So this is تحذيف. ولا النزعتان, and not the نزعتان. So these things are not part of the face, it's part of the head. Above, so the end of the head, at the end of the face, I'm sorry, is the عذار, this bone. On top of that is part of the head and not part of the face. So on top of the عذار is a صدغ, and then you have a تحذيف, and then you have the نزعة, which is the part where it starts going, the hair going inside. So also ولا النزعتان. The two نزعتان are not part of the face. It's part of the head. So once the hair, since where the hair usually grow, so it's already obvious, but it's just mentioning this to make sure that it's clear. So the hair, the part of the head where the hairs start going inside, this is also part of the head, not part of the face. ولا النزعتان وهما, he defines النزعتان وهما to من حسر عنه الشعر من الرأس. من حسر, الانحسار is when something recedes, goes back. So من حسر عنه الشعر, what the hair goes back from it, من الرأس, from the head, متصاعدا, going above, من جانبيه, from the both sides of the head. This is all from the رأس. This is from the head, not from the face. Clear? So if we go back again, let's see these words. So we have al-wajh. Al-wajh is the face, because this is all about the wajh. And in this last paragraph, we have من شعر خفيف, the light hair, يصف البشرة. So we have عذار is the bone that at the end of the face next to the ears. عارض is the cheeks. أهداب عين, the eyelashes. شارب, mustache. عنفقة, the hair under the lips. All of that from al-wajh, from the face. What's not from the face is the صدغ, and the صدغ is above the عذار, and تحذيف, which is above it, which is right before النزعة. النزعة is what recedes the hair inside. And النزعتان, the two نزعة, one نزعة and one نزعة. وهما من حسر عنه الشعر من الرأس متصاعدا من جانبيه, from both of its sides. فهي من الرأس, all of that is from the head. And the head is to be wiped. Clear? He says ولا يغسل داخل عينيه. He should not wash داخل عينيه, inside of his eyes. ولا يغسل داخل عينيه. You don't wash inside of the eyes. ولو من نجاسة. Even if there's najasa, for example, entered the eyes, never to wash inside of the eyes. ولو أمن الضرر. Even if he is safe from harm, never wash inside of the eyes. This is painful, this is takalluf, this is ghulu, extremism. So not to wash inside of the eyes. This is what is meant by the last one. Even if there is no harm, still not to do that. Clear? We go next, now on page 126. He says, now in the matn, وَالظَّاهِرَ الْكَثِيفِ مَعَ مَا اسْتَرْسَلَ مِنْهُ. He says, وَيَغْسِلُ الشَّعْرِ. He washes the hair. الظاهر. الظاهر is the not opposite of the hidden one, what appears. Because if you have a beard, there's a hair that appears from the front and there's the inside. So الظاهر is what appears. ويغسل الشعر الظاهر. He washes the hair that appears, that is appearing, that is outside. من الكثيف, from the thick. الكثيف is the thick. مع ما استرسل منه, with what comes down from it. الاسترسال is when something keeps on going. So the hair keeps on going down. So this is to be washed. Only the outside part of the hair is to be washed. It means the water runs on it. ويخلل باطنه. ويخلل, we talked about the تخليل, which is getting the fingers inside of the beard from the bottom. If it كثيف, if it's thick, الباطن is the opposite of الظاهر. والظاهر والباطن. So الباطن is the inside. وتقدم, and it's been mentioned before. Clear? So ويغسل الشعر الظاهر. So remember, what's washed, do you wash all of the hair? It depends. There's details, and the person has to be precise, even with questioning. You know, a person, what's the ruling of washing the hair on the face? There's details. If it's kathif, then what's obligatory is to wash al-zahir. And to make takhleel, this is recommended of al-batin. If it's khafif, kathif is thick, khafif is light. Khafif, what's the ruling of the khafif? Ghasl al-bashara. The face has to be washed because it's khafif, it's see-through. ويغسل الشعر الظاهر من الكثيف مع ما استرسل منه. استرسل, that means comes down. That means it's not on the face, it comes down. It departs from the face, it's come down, then it's the ظاهر only. ويخلل باطنه وتقدم. Clear? Then he says, ثم يغسل يديه مع المرفقين ثم يديه مع المرفقين. Then he washes يديه, his both hands again, مع المرفقين, with the two elbows, المرفقين, مرفق المرفق مرفقين, and مع المرفقين because المرفقين after مع المرفقان, this is two, مع المرفقين with the two elbows. وأظفاره ثلاثا, وأظفاره and his nails, so يغسل يديه مع المرفقين وأظفاره ثلاثا, and his nails, all of that 3 times, because now this is rukn of the wudu. Even if you wash the hands in the beginning, you have to repeat washing the hands again as a pillar of the wudu, and it starts from the tip of the fingers, which is mentioned here, the nails. وأظفاره ثلاثا. He mentioned the أظفار because after that he says ولا يضر وسخ يسير. لا يضر, that means not harmful. وسخ is the dirt. يسير, light dirt. تحت ظفر, under the nails. ونحوه, and the like of that. If it's a small dirt, it's okay. It does not invalidate the wudu. ونحوه, and the like of that. What's ونحوه? The things that are hidden and there's some dirt, like inside of the nose, things like this. There's no harm. ولا يضر وسخ. So the wasakh or the dirt still is there. It does not harm. ولا يضر وسخ يسير, but light. تحت ظفر ونحوه. If it's not يسير, if it's a whole bunch, prevents the water from being on the hands, that means it needs to be washed. ويغسل ما نبت بمحل الفرض ويغسل, and he also to wash ما نبت. We talked about منابت. نبت means planted or grows here. بمحل الفرض, in the place of الفرض. من إصبع أو يد زائدة. من إصبع, finger, or يد زائدة, or a hand زائدة, extra. Someone has a 6th finger. That's basically what it is. نبت, he had a 6th finger grown. Should he wash it or not? Yes. If it's within the fard area. If it's part of the, come out from the fard, then its ruling is to be washed also. من إصبع أو يد زائنة. Someone has 2 hands, right, attached on the right side, on the right hand, for example. He has to wash both of them. Anything that grows, extra finger, this and that, toes, all of that has to be washed if it's attached to the fard or to the place of al-fard. طيب. Then ثم يمسح كل رأسه. This is, we're talking about the صفة wudu, how to make wudu. Then after washing the hands to the mirfaqain, to the elbows, ثم يمسح, then he wipes. Before was يغسل, now يمسح. المسح is wiping. And the غسل is the water runs. المسح is there's no water running. It's you have water in your hand and you wipe. And as a rule, the wiping is only one time. Anything that is wiped is to be only wiped one time. ثم يمسح أو ثم يمسح كل رأسه, all of his head. And he said this is the madhab, the entire head, not part of the head. كل رأسه بالماء, with the water. مع الأذنين, with the 2 ears, مرة واحدة, one time. And if someone would say, let me do it 2 or 3 times, no, that's from the sunnah. One time is one time, and that's it. ثم يمسح كل رأسه بالماء مع الأذنين مرة واحدة. And as we talked about it before, the ayah says, وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ, wipe your heads. And the sunnah, the Prophet ﷺ, in his action, he would always ﷺ wipe the entire head. And there was no proof whatsoever that the Prophet ﷺ wiped part of the head. So that it shows that the fard here is to wipe the entire head. And this is the madhab. Even though there's a valid difference of opinion. So ثم يمسح كل رأسه بالماء مع الأذنين مرة واحدة. And the fard part is if a person wiped the entire head. That's the fard, even if in one direction. Then he says, we're talking about the sifa, how to do it. فيمر يديه, يمر الإمرار is to pass on. So since it's wiping, so to pass your hand, يديه من مقدم رأسه. المقدم is the front. رأسه, his head, إلى قفاه, till his قفا. القفا is the back of the head that is on the side, other side of the neck. So till the end of the head from the bottom. So he says, فيمر يديه من مقدم رأسه إلى قفاه ثم then يردهما إلى الموضع الذي بدأ منه. Then يردهما, الرد is to return back. المثنى two. ثم يردهما, he returns back both of his hands إلى الموضع, to the spot, to the place الذي بدأ منه, that he started with. He started with مقدم الرأس, from the beginning of the head, so he goes back and he goes all the way to the back, and then he comes forward in the same wiping, one time. Not two wipes, but one wipe back and forth. And this is clearly stated in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. But if he goes one direction only, that's what constitutes the wiping. But the perfect way is, as mentioned, back and forth. And if someone has long hair, or the hair will be, uncombed and things like this, it's recognized. Even Imam Ahmad rahimahullah was asked about someone, his hair has so much hair. He says to do it only one direction. And if you don't want to mess up your hair too much, it's sufficient. And he even mentioned for the women, is to go from the middle, and she goes like this, and she goes like this. If she doesn't want to go like that. Right? But if she goes like this, or anyone goes like this, mashallah is best. But the hair is, the point of going back and forth is that all of the hair is white. And if the normal growth of the hair, the bottom part of the hair will be white. But if the hair is long, that will not happen. So it would just mess up the hair, and that's it. Because the hair you won't go on the bottom part of the hair. You understand? So, but anyway, this is what the Prophet ﷺ did, like this. And if a person this is what the perfect way of doing it, both men, women, everyone. But not to feel bad if someone doesn't do it yet. ثم يدخل, then he says, ثم يدخل سبابتيه, then he enters, يدخل سبابتيه, this is the sababa. Remember the sababa? And this is the wusta, the middle one, and this is al-khunsur, and this is al-bunsur, and then this is al-ibham. ثم يدخل سبابتيه, he put the sababa, the two sababa, in the صماخي أذنيه. الصماخ, as he says also in the bottom, خرق الأذن, the whole of the ears. So يدخل سبابتيه, he enters his forefinger inside of the أذنيه, his two ears. ويمسح, and he wipes بإبهاميه. This is the ibham, the index finger, the two ibham. إبهاميه ظاهرهم. Did I say anything wrong? Thumbs. Oh, where's the index? This is the index. So where's the forefinger? The same thing. So when you teach me English, I teach you Arabic. So this is the index, and this is the thumb. So wipes ويمسح بإبهاميه. So and wipe with his thumb, al-ibham, easier. So now from now on, no thumb and no forefinger and no index, right? السبابة and al-ibham. السبابة and al-ibham. So يدخل سبابتيه في صماخي مثنى. صماخ is one, صماخي أذنيه. ويمسح and wipe بإبهاميه ظاهرهما. الظاهر, we talked about it. Now we know الظاهر and الباطن. The outside, which is basically from the outside, where we call it the back of the ears, which is the ear has a outside and an inside. The outside is also what's the back of the ear. The inside is the grooves inside. So ويمسح بإبهاميه ظاهرهما ويجزئ كيف مسح. ويجزئ, الإجزاء is what's sufficient. كيف مسح, the way that he wipes. Whatever ways he wipes is all fine. With the ibham, with the piece of cloth, with anything, it doesn't matter. As long as it's wiped. Right? So it doesn't have, there's no kayfiyya, there's no specific way of wiping. Any way of wiping the ears is fine. So should we continue, or let's finish the chapter, and then you read it at home, inshallah. We'll go quickly, inshallah. ثم يغسل رجليه, then he washes his two رجل. الرجل is the foot here in this case, and sometimes it refers to the legs and sometimes the foot. So here the foot. ثم يغسل رجليه, both of his foot ثلاثا, 3 times, مع الكعبين, with the كعب. What is the كعب? أي العظمين الناتئين في أسفل الساق من جانبي القدم. العظمين, 2 عظم. عظم and عظم is عظمين أو عظمان here, but because of the context. So the العظم is the bone. الناتئين, النتوء when someone sticks out. So العظمين الناتئين, the 2 sticking out bones, في أسفل الساق, in the bottom of the shin, من جانبي القدم, on the side of the foot, which is what they call it, the ankle. So this is all to describe the ankle, which is this bone that sticks out on the side. This is al-Ka'b. The heels, al-Aqib, which you step on it. So al-Rijl, the foot, is all the way to al-Ka'b, which what separates the foot from the shin. So ثم يغسل رجليه ثلاثا مع الكعبين, with the كعبين, أي العظمين الناتئين في أسفل الساق من جانبي القدم. ويغسل الأقطع بقية المفروض. Now الأقطع is the man or the woman, but here مذكر. الأقطع is the one that has an organ amputated. He has missing leg or missing hand or whatever. So يغسل الأقطع, this is the person. القطع is when something, القطع is cutting something off. So الأقطع, the one that he has something cut off from his body. So he washes بقية المفروض, the rest of the مفروض, the rest of the obligation. So if his hands is cut off, then he washes the rest of the arm. If he has no hands, no palm, but he has an arm, so he has to wash the arm, which is an obvious thing. بقية, the rest of the mafrud. And understanding from al-aqta, meaning that he has not someone that an organ that is not part of the wudu. That means it's part of the wudu. So he washes the rest of the mafrud. لحديث, for the hadith, إذا أمرتكم بأمر فأتوا منه ما استطعتم. If I command you to do something, do of it to the best of your ability. متفق عليه. Bear with me with the details, very brief. فإن قطع من المفصل. فإن قطع. If قطع, if it's get cut off, if it's amputated, من المفصل. المفصل is the joint. So say the arm is cut off from the joint, from the mirfaq, all the way. So the mirfaq is still there. The joint of أي مفصل المرفق, the joint of the elbow. It's cut off from the joint of the elbow. غسل رأس العضد منه. Then he would wash the head of the عضد. Al-adud is the forearm. So he would wash that part which is the head of the forearm. This is what he has, only the forearm. So he would wash only that part, not the forearm, just the head of the forearm, which is the last part or the edge of what has been cut off. وكذا الأقطع من مفصل كعب يغسل طرف ساق. The same thing, الأقطع من مفصل, from the joint of كعب, of the ankle. If the amputation here is cut from the joint of the ankle, then يغسل طرف ساق, the tip of the shin. And here the cut is by the mafsil, by the joint. If someone, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all, he has the leg is amputated from the middle of the shin or from the knees. Does he do anything? No. This is all mafsil, the joint of the end of the fard. But some said, and also the madhab, it's sunnah or recommended to wipe over whatever the end of things. So if it's in the middle of the shin, just to wipe it, to wipe the bottom part. But this is not a must because the fard is not there. So nothing to be done to it. So this is what's mentioned here. Then ثم يرفع نظره إلى السماء. Then he raises his nazar, his eyesight to the السماء, towards above. بعد فراغه, after he finishes the wudu. ويقول ما ورد. And he says ما ورد, what's reported. ومنه, and from it, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. So this is part of what is basically the adhkar that came after to say after the wudu. Another, there is the hadith, some had said that it's weak. So this is رفع النظر, and then the أذكار is to be said, and more, not just that, but more أذكار. Like اللهم اجعلني من التوابين واجعلني من المطهرين, and there is سبحانك اللهم ربنا وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك, and so on. So then he says وتباح معونته. The last thing, تباح, that means it's permissible to help him. معونته from الإعانة, التعاون. It's permissible to help him. Help who? The one making wudu. So أي معونة المتوضئ, to help the متوضئ, to help the one making wudu. It's permissible. Whether he needs it or not. So if someone, someone else is helping him to make wudu, pouring water for him, help him to make the wudu, even if he doesn't need to. It's the sunnah, of course, that he would do it himself. And there's a hadith about this. Or of course, if he needs it, then of course this is a good thing. أي معونة المتوضئ. وسنة كونه عن يساره. وسنة, it's recommended that to help him, if someone is helping him, to be on his left side, because it's easier for him if he's pouring water for him. كإناء ضيق الرأس, like a container, إناء ضيق الرأس, tight, the head of it is tight. Because if it's big, then it's easier, because you put your hand in there and you make wudu. And if you try to make wudu from a container that is big like a pot, the wudu is very easy, and you would use so much less water. And if a person try this one time, you would find that you would use so much less water. Different than when you're pouring water. You're pouring from a bottle, you would finish the water, where's the water went? But if it's from a container, right, you use so much less water. But if it's to help him, وَسُنَّ كَوْنُهُ عَنْ يَسَارِ كَإِنَاءٍ ضَيِّقِ الرَّأْسِ. The إناء, the رأس of it, the head of it is tight. وَإِلَّا, otherwise, فَعَنْ يَمِينٍ. If it's, then it's better to be on his left side. But if it's more easier to be on his right side, then this is what about being easier to help him if a person wants to help someone. ويباح له, and it's permissible for him, تنشيف أعضائه من ماء الوضوء. It's permissible to, تنشيف is to dry the organs from the water of the wudu. It's permissible. Is it recommended or it's not recommended? There is debates in this. And the Prophet ﷺ, what is closer to the sunnah, that he would not have takalluf. If he has means to wipe, he would wipe. If there's not, then he does not go look for it. To be at ease with it. There's no one thing or the other. If it's cold, of course, and you would have a dry skin, wipe. Don't make what is easier for oneself. And don't think that this is better than the other. Allahu A'lam. The last sentence. وَمَنْ وَضَّأَهُ غَيْرُهُ وَنَوَاهُ هُوَ صَحَّ. وَمَنْ, whoever, وَضَّأَهُ غَيْرُهُ. وَضَّأَهُ from الوضوء. غَيْرُهُ, other than him. وَضَّأَهُ, that means someone else other than him made him have wudu. So someone in bed, for example, sick or something like that, and someone else is the one that actually made him have the wudu. Not just pouring the water for him and the person is making wudu. No, he's the one that actually washed his arm and wiped his head like this. And وَضَّأَهُ غَيْرُهُ. So غَيْرُ, other than him, وَضَّأَهُ, and see, وَضَّأَهُ, that means he made him make wudu. وَنَوَاهُ هُوَ, and he made the niyyah. Who's the one that made the niyyah? The one that is the wudu is made for. Right? Because if someone does not have the intention of making wudu, the wudu is not valid. Sahha, it's permissible. So if someone else made the wudu for someone, for another person, but that person is making the intention that he's making wudu, then this is valid. إِن لَمْ يَكُنْ الْمُوَضِّئ مُكْرَهًا بِغَيْرِ حَقٍّ. Unless al-muwaddi, and it's important to know who's al-muwaddi and who's al-muwadda, right? So al-muwaddi is the one that is making the wudu for that person. The one that is pouring, the one that is actually doing the actions. Mukrahan, if he's forced. بغير حق, without the right to do so. How can he be forced? A slave, a servant. Make wudu for, make me have wudu. And he's forced to do it. And he's the one that is going to make him have wudu. Mukrahan, forced. بغير حق, without the right to do so. It's just something that was present at the time where someone would force someone to make him have wudu. If it's bihaq, that means the wudu is valid. If it's بغير حق, without the right for him to order him and to force him to give him wudu, then it's not valid. وكذا الغسل والتيمم, and this is the same thing as the ghusl and the tayammum. All the same rulings applies. So this is the end of the صفة الوضوء, and then after that مسح الخفين. We took so much today, and hopefully inshallah ta'ala it's clear. But I'm assuming inshallah that every time we finish, every word is being read, and you do it at home and make sure that every word is clear. And if not, then you ask inshallah, and we should have everything clear inshallah ta'ala. First of all, the attendance code is any one of the or combinations of these three. وجه, which is face, ثلاثا, three or ثلاثة, إصبع, finger. Any one or combination of these three. طيب. Again, I'm reminding everyone, make sure that no word slips away. Make sure that you know every word of it, and ask inshallah if you do not know. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم ربنا وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.